But I'm just trying to be right now in the shoes of the average person who's not on crypto yet. And they hear crypto and they associate with Ponzi scheme. It's a fraud. It's going to zero. It's backed by nothing. Then 22 happens. There are black swans. There's FTX or whatever happens to happen. And they're afraid. How can we in this space be better to onboard more people and let them understand the big picture you're trying to do right now?
So when you were in a frontier, go back to the United States in the 1800s, there were cowboys.
Yeah.
There were bank robbers. There was all sorts of crazy people. Everybody was fighting over the land. The Mexicans, the Spanish, the English, the French.
Then the gold rush happened and it was nuts.
Right?
Yeah.
What you have is a lawless society that's learning to organize. It ends up becoming the United States of America. So when there's massive opportunities, it brings all sorts of players.
Right.
Like the internet did. From the Nigerian prince scam to Google. They all exist. And over time, the authentic businesses build scale and people get to understand them. But in the early stage, you don't really know. So it's a feature of an early stage market, of a frontier. So what you're saying is, okay, well, we do have easy ways here. Is Bitcoin. You don't rely on anybody. It's this asset that's global, that's homogenous, that's available to everybody, that you can buy from your mobile phone, that cannot be destroyed, cannot be intervened by anybody. It's yours. Okay, well, that's an easy bet. I'm not now relying on a scam or anything else. There's no Ponzi. It just is. And then we look at Ethereum. Well, Ethereum's like this supercomputer of this new internet that allows you to have contracts online. Smart contracts. That's what makes Ethereum. So then you can do all sorts of clever stuff, whether it's from tickets to agreements to whatever. Human society is organized by contracts. So then what's the probability of scammed at the token level? 0. These are huge, distributed, multi-million people networks.
Speaking of Ethereum and Bitcoin.
Yeah. And Solana and many of the big ones.
By market cap, the top ones, kind of like the same.
Where people lose their minds is they want to get rich quick.
Chasing the next meme coin, the next big thing.
Well, because people suddenly start to say, oh my God, I don't need to be trapped in the world of 10% a year in the stock market.
Right.
I've now been given this 100% a year, and then you become greedy. All you see is, I could make 1,000% or 10,000%. And then you do stupid shit. And that's when you get scammed. Because now you're exposing yourself away from the simple bets of investing in the technology layer to now you're investing in the applications layer. And that's when businesses are starting, who's building what. You know, it's a meme coin, it's a DeFi protocol, it's all of these things.
ICOs back in 2017,
and
2018.
then you've got to ask yourself, are you qualified to be a venture capital investor, early stage? Are you doing the due diligence?
Taking the risk as well.
Taking the risk.
Yeah.
Right. They all are a power law. And so what that means is most of their bets go to somewhere near 0. Or let's say 20% go to 0, 50% don't do anything, and 10% make all the money. Now, are you qualified to do that? No, then don't do it. You don't have to do that bet when the assets are growing at 150% a year at the base asset, Bitcoin or Ethereum. You don't need to buy NFTs. You don't need to buy meme coins. You don't need to do any of these things. That's the really hard thing, is the system sucks you into greed if you're not careful, and it's unnecessary.
The other interesting part now for everyone watching and listening is that now, the way I see it, as the average person in crypto, is that before it was always this fear of it could be taken away, it's backed by nothing, and etc. Since January of this year, of 2024, that we're about to end, it became finally, with the ETF approval of Bitcoin, pretty much legal in the US. Now we have a government like Trump that is going to be more pro-crypto, pro-innovation, pro-technology, and it's Elon on top of that. But you get these predictions by Bitwise and these giant institutions now giving really crazy predictions of where it's going to be. So my point that I'm trying to make here is, like, now we're having also the institutional big money, the big players putting their chips into crypto.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You see, everybody looks at it through their lens. And the lens may be you're from Venezuela, so you think you can have it expropriated. Or a gold investor in the US, well, they took gold. They didn't do it in Europe. But different people use their different lens. But we don't realize. And so you're worried about regulation.
Right.
It's a global asset. The Chinese have banned it.
And
the Indians, nothing happens.
Right. A little dip here and there.
Why? Because this is a network of millions of individuals. This is not driven by the institutions. It doesn't matter whether they come or not. People want to be validated. It's a ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
Oh, BlackRock think it's good, so therefore I'm not stupid. It's like, you're not stupid because literally hundreds of millions of people are using this,
Right.
making money from it, building on top of it, and creating a new future. So therefore you can't be stupid. You do not need some bloke on television telling you that it's valid. So what we've done for the first time in history, if we go back to how I started this journey, those of us at the centre would get the opportunities. And then you would charge layers of fees until it comes down to the individual. Well, they didn't even see them. They don't get to invest in Facebook when it launches. You know,
Or Uber or Airbnb or whatever.
anything,
Yeah.
right? We don't get any of that stuff. It eventually goes into the public stock market and at several $1 billion. Yes, it went up a lot after that, but somebody's made 1,000,000% returns before that. Right? This is the complete inverse. There are no gatekeepers. Retailer first. They front run all of the institutions. They get all the opportunity, all of the upside. And the institutions come later and force the prices up, and we all get hilariously rich. Genius. It's a complete inversion of how the financial system works. So it doesn't really matter. I know people want the validation. Regulation helps because it stops governments shutting down your business in a different country. So yes, it helps, but don't forget, it's currently a $3 trillion asset. I think it goes to 100 trillion. The only way it gets there is to have more larger and larger pools of capital coming into the space. But if you think of it in those terms, it's still only 3% of the journey to where it's going to in the next 10 years.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's
Your thesis of 100 trillion
yeah,
for the asset
so
class?
therefore it goes up 30x from here. I mean, again, people don't realize that. Am I too late? Bitcoin's at $100,000. Am I too? I'm like, it's 3%. And it's therefore it should go up 33x from here. Okay, find me anything else. Assume that I'm wrong by 50%. It goes up 15x from here. Find me another investment anywhere in the world that will unfuck your future like this. It doesn't exist.
Gracias por ver este podcast. Si es que te gustó, dale like y suscríbete al canal, así sabes cuando suban nuevos episodios. Aquí te dejo otro podcast que seguramente te va a gustar, y si quieres irte de largo, un playlist con todos los episodios de Acción Podcast. Que estés bien, nos vemos la próxima. Chao, chao.